Guys, here's a new video. Today I'm just going to be covering a whole bunch of tips and tricks for bass fishing. And yeah, I won't be taking anything out or anything. I'll tell you really the majority of what I know and be as transparent and honest as you guys. And yeah, so let's get right started. I'm going to explain I explain things in a little different ways, but I don't know. It's easy to understand and I'll make you guys remember it. So to begin, finding fish, right? When it comes to bass fishing, you got to find them, right? Yes, they swim, yeah, but you got to find them. And what I like to do is I call it is cool spots. Cool spots. And you guys might be thinking like, oh, cold cool. No, not that way. What I mean here is just cool spots, right? Things that look cool. It's kind of weird to say, but I'm going to explain my reasoning for why I named it cool spots. So, in tons of rivers, lakes, and all that, you have nice little pockets, right? Just like so. And that's usually where the bass are. Why? Because when the current pulls throughout the years, they bed right in these spots, so then the water doesn't wash away their eggs. And yeah, but now the reason why I say it's cool spots because it's cool, right? It's different from the rest, right? It just straight lines here, tucked away little areas. It's different, right? And now there's tons of other what I call cool spots, right? A lot of times you have when you're on the water, that's my water. Then you have duck huts above the water, right? And now, mind my drawing, but this is a duck hut, right? And then when you're on the water, you can say, hey, oh wow, that looks cool, right? Exactly, boom. This is where your bass are going to be right underneath this structure of the duck hut, right? Sorry, just got to fix this quick. And yeah, exactly. Looks like a duck hut. I know it's hard to get, but you guys know what I mean. It's above water, has shade protection and everything for bass. Bass are ambush predators. They like to be hidden, right? And that's a perfect way to hide. Now again, large, and the last two examples were more for largemouths. Now, you got water. Drops down like this. Let's say we're 5 feet here, 10 feet here, right? That's cool. Again, I know I keep saying it, but it kind of makes sense, right? So it's something different, right? It's pretty cool. The water drops. So hey, what does that tell us? Boom, something different. There are bass here, all through here. Come up here. Oh no, actually I meant, that's my fault. 5 feet, 10 feet, right? The bass are all along here, right? And they go ambush predators right up here, right? And they go back and forth all day, right? Because smallmouth do like a little cooler water. What's cooler water? The deeper water, right? Largemouth, mainly shallower water is warmer. But any little change in structure at the bottom, right? Or that provides cover, right? That's where all the bass are going to be hiding. Now, one more cool example, but I really want you guys to understand this. So you're at an edge of a pond. Let's just say this is water, right? And then you have that big tree that's kind of on an angle, and it has a something like this, right? And down here provides shade, right? Does that look different or cool? Yes, it does, right? Because you're on, it's kind of hard to explain. I'm not the best drawer, but when you're on the water, sometimes there's trees and structure changes, right? And when we have that, bass like to sit there, and then trees provide shade. And sometimes from here to here, there's only 3 inches because that tree's drooping, right? And then that keeps largemouth and all that nice and cool. Like actually, the word cool as in cold, and that's where they can be at, right? They'll sit out there. You cast right along there, and boom, perfect, right? That's where they're gonna be. Okay, so now we got that out of the way, and now one quick tip. I don't want you guys to use the word, when I say cool, that does not mean cold water. So now number 2, a big thing that I've been working on myself is casting. So everybody knows how to cast, right? Over your head, way out in the middle of the lake. However, when it comes to largemouth fishing, it is very, very, very different. The overhead cast is not always the best way, right? Tons of ways to cast. You can cast on the side. Overhead is dangerous sometimes because if you're casting by weeds, you can get trapped right over the weeds, so it's not the best option. If you're on a boat, bear with me with my drawings. Is this X is someone else? I'm going to show you guys in a sec. And this is me. So if this X is someone else, and this is the weed line right here, right? We have all the structure, we have all our trees and everything, right? Right there. This is me. And if you're not gifted, you don't have a big bass boat, you kind of can't really come on this side. If you're on a little aluminum boat, she's going to tip. So right here, this is when you can start practicing your offhand casts, right? I'm right-handed, I cast like this, right? And now if I was here, offhand, right? Instead of getting tangled up and all that. So that's just little things. And then you see people on TikTok and all that skipping. And fishing's like the only sport that like in other in other in other sports like trick shots and all that, right? In basketball, like one leg jumpers and all that. That's not yes, it's a good strategy, whatever, but it's more flashier than good. However, fishing has this excellent thing called skipping. And that's what we were talking about. Now, previously, when I was talking about that duck hut, right? How there's water here, and then the duck hut sits up like this above the water. That's kind of looks like a loaf of bread, but you guys get the gist of it. So all this is just a ladder here to get up to the hut, right? This is when skipping is your best friend. You got to skip in there, right? Why? Because it's a cool place. It's cool to relax fish like that. They're ambush predators. They love it. So this is a great time to practice your skipping to get it right in here, right? You can't do an over the head cast or you're going to land in the duck hut. You can kind of do a sidearm cast right to the side. That'll do. But this is when skipping, right? And all the practice and all the time you put into it really comes hand in hand, right? So what I was saying about fishing is yes, like these trick shots or skipping is very, 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 very useful. It's awesome, right? And then that drooping tree. So if there's water and then there's a tree that droops and it's about 3 feet above the water and it kind of hangs out like this, there's a ton of shade. That's where you can skip to. And that's why casting is so important. Because if you're a good caster and you can get that lure wherever you want it, you're going to catch more fish. And it's way more satisfying. Like I had a buddy this year, we were fishing and there was a ton of weeds and everything. And then there was a little maybe 5 foot valley and he casted right in there and he's like, oh, that's a money cast right there. He was going crazy. And then boom, largemouth smacked it, right? And that's just awesome, right? He's a good caster. He practiced that cast, landed in there, and did it get snagged, right? And then boom, slammed it, right? And that's awesome. Yeah. And all these fancy casts in fishing, they're awesome. Trust me, like it does a great job. You don't get tangled. Your main goal is to keep that lure in the water and at effective spots. How you get there is that's all your decision, right? If you get snagged above a couple trees or anything, or right, it's just gonna take time off, and that's the difference between a great and a not so great fisherman, right? And yeah, let me look at my notes for a sec because I wanted to talk about a couple good things to help everybody out and share what I do with you guys. Proper lures, right? When you're fishing, make sure you got the proper lures. Lures nowadays are pretty expensive, but you barely use like an actual hard lure, hard plastic lure, maybe a couple crankbaits, jerk baits, but you know what? Those are the expensive ones and they're not performing as well as plastic worms, plastic minnows, plastic crawfish, plastic creature baits. They don't compete. Uh, yeah, with lures, different colors and all that for different waters. I'll get into that video. I can talk about that forever, but just make sure you know what's a good lure for what you're targeting, right? Dirty water, go bright or even go dirtier than the water. If it's a chocolate brown, you can either go black, dirtier than the water, or you can go super chartreuse orange, that neon look. to get fish to attract your baits. The water's clear. Use natural colors: green pumpkin, watermelon. All those great. Um, when you're casting your lures, this is gonna be another video too, because I can talk about this one all day too. But in brief, there's a lot of different retrieves. Not every lure and not every plastic worm or plastic crawfish are all retrieved the same. There's tons of factors, and that's really the name of the game. That differentiates the good from the great, right? And I'm learning that every day. And yeah, so the way you retrieve is very important. Usually on Senkos and wacky rigs, all the retrieves kind of like this, right? You're in the water, pop it up, pop it up, pop it up, pop it up, right? Crankbaits, this is a water line right up here. Crankbaits, you're kind of like right at the bottom, right? Nice and smooth with a steady pull. There's tons of different ways. So whatever lures you have or your favorites, make sure you look up on YouTube or anyway, or talk to someone about how to retrieve. That is the most important part. You have to make it look like the fish wants to eat it, right? Yes, there are some weird things, like a tube, for instance. I never seen a wild tube yet, but yeah, and you have to find the fish. A lot of times I see kids casting all day offshore, and it's fine, right? You're eventually gonna catch something. But a lot of times, if the fish aren't there, the fish aren't there. You can throw a Big Mac combo with a large fry and even put salt and ketchup on it and throw it out right on your hook, right? But it doesn't matter. The fish aren't there. You have to move to get the fish. And that's why they made trolling motors and everything. Moving, like, yes, fish swim, but they only swim so much, right? It's a hot day. They don't want to move. You have to go get them, right? And yeah, um, talked about cool spots or unique spots, which that does not mean cool water temperature. That's just different spots where bass would hang out as, because they are predators, so they want something cozy. Proper lures. Yep, retrieves. How important that is. It's all different, and different ways to cast. And yeah, even if you're not catching fish and you're bank fishing, try different ways to cast. It's so important. The over the head one doesn't always work. When you're largemouth fishing, you have tons of structure, tons of all these little obstacles, and you have to make it work, right? And all these money shots and everything. Beautiful casts, right? Yeah, that's about it. I'm gonna have a ton of bass and different videos like this. My boat just broke down, so we're going back to the drawing board today. And I love these kind of videos. I love sharing people what I do, and I don't hide anything and all that. So I'm an honest fisherman. If you have any questions, ask in the comments. And yeah, subscribe. Thank you so much, and let me know what you guys think.